Hey, what's going on? Heroes Pokeforce here, and Nintendo released a lot of brand new Pokemon information for Pokemon Sun and Moon. There's a lot to go over, so let's get to it. The first Pokemon they showed us this week is Wimp Odd, who's a Kabuto-looking thing with a bug water typing, and its ability is Wimp Out. Now, what Wimp Out does is that when its HP drops below half in a battle, it actually runs away from that battle. This is going to make Wimp Odd a very difficult Pokemon to catch. Wimpods have a cowardly nature and are wary of noises and sudden movements, and if you approach them in a large group, they'll immediately run off. There's a lot of talk about using poison, and if you continue reading, it actually says that they may be curious enough to approach a trainer who's standing still. So, possibly you could still encounter a Wimpod if you're standing still in the tall grass. That's something to experiment with when the game comes out. It also remarks on Wimpod's filter feeding nature in that it can grab things from deep below the sea and bring it with it. It specifically mentions carrying pearls or other valuable items. Now, pearls being an actual in-game item that you can sell for a huge amount of money, farming Wimpods might actually be a methodology for maybe pearl farming to try to get up some money. Now, the next Pokemon we have to look forward to is Bounsweet. Bounsweet is a pure grass-type Pokemon with the abilities Leaf Guard or Oblivious. Now, Bounsweet does bear a strong resemblance to the Cherry-type Pokemon Cherubi. It exudes a delicious smell from its entire body, and really it's just got a whole lot going on with it having a good scent. It's being used as an air freshener and has a way of calming Pokemon. So I think this Pokemon will probably have an ability like Aromatherapy or Sweet Scent as part of its moveset. Now, the next new Pokemon we have is Comfey, a Fairy-type Pokemon, which has a very interesting origin. It kind of resembles the leis of Hawaiian tradition, that's spelled L-E-I, by the way, which are typically given as signs of goodwill. The name Comfey is also a play on words in that it's like comfy or comfortable, and fey as in like supernatural power or fairies as it's commonly used. Comfey's ability is the Triage or Flower Veil ability, and Triage is a new ability, and that supposedly it grants the highest priority to Comfey's healing type moves, so he'd be a good cleric on the battlefield. He picks flowers and always carries them around and emits a soothing fragrance that soothes both itself and its allies. So this Pokemon could possibly have Aromatherapy or Sweet Scent as well, just like Bounsweet. Now, this Pokemon here, Mudsdale, is one that I think I'm going to enjoy using when it comes out. But first, let's take a quick look at that very concerned face of his. He looks very concerned. Mudsdale's ability is Own Tempo or Stamina, and Stamina is a unique ability to Mudsdale, and it's pretty interesting. Whenever he takes a hit, Stamina actually increases his defense by 1 stat. Now, Nintendo does us a solid here and actually show us that Mudsdale has a unique move with this Horseshoe Imprint Stamp attack. Not sure what it's going to be called, but it looks very interesting. Mudsdale is known for a powerful body with emotional fortitude, and it has slow speed but high attack and staying power. So I think Mudsdale is probably going to be a very solid defensive tank, with high attack and HP, with some really good defense, and maybe even a little bit of special defense. Now, the next Pokemon is Mimikyu, who's already been really popular on the internet ever since it was leaked by CoroCoro magazine. As you can see, there's already a lot of fan art of him. Now, that seems to be because of its backstory, where it's actually trying to mimic Pikachu because it's so lonely that it thinks people won't like it unless it's Pikachu. So it's got a really sad personal story. It's trying to be something it's not, so people will love it. It's really sad. It's also kind of self-referential in that it shows Pikachu merchandise increasing in popularity over the last 20 years. That's a reference to the 20 years of Pokemon and Pikachu's life as the series mascot. Its special ability is Disguise, which is a completely unique ability to Mimikyu, which is kind of like a one-time deal substitute. The Pikachu costume takes the hit for Mimikyu, so you can kind of get in that free hit before Mimikyu actually starts taking damage. Probably a good scout Pokemon. Now, you may also notice that in the background here, Nintendo, again, giving us a little sneak peek, there's actually an interesting cemetery setting in the background here, like an overgrown cemetery. So, I guess we can expect to see something like that in the game as we play through when it comes out. The last Pokemon they have for us is Beware, whose name is a play on words. Wear, like the bear suit it has, and Beware because it's dangerous. It's a normal fighting type with the Fluffy and Klutz move. And this Pokemon is known to give lethal hugs. Even when it's trying to be friendly, its hugs can break anything in twain. So this Pokemon is indeed very dangerous. Its Fluffy ability halves the damage it takes from physical contact moves, but doubles the damage it takes from fire types, so it effectively trades some significant defense for a fire weakness. Now, I find myself a little worried that Beware might actually be a representation of furries, and that it's wearing a furry animal costume, Fluffy ability, and it seems to be really eager for physical contact in the form of hugs, which, because of its information and its Pokedex background, nobody's going to want those hugs. Nobody wants those hugs. Now, more interesting information is with Pokemon Sun and Moon, you'll be able to create your own competitions through the Pokemon Global Link. These competitions can be set up with all manner of rules and regulations, just like the officiated ones that the Pokemon Global Link runs. What makes these competitions that hosted by players even more interesting, though, is that if you get enough participants, they can actually be qualified for ranking, official ranking through the Pokemon Global Link website. So this is going to be very interesting. You can also set up your competitions so that way they can only be entered by QR code. So what you could do with this is, say on a local level, perhaps at a card shop or game shop where you have a Pokemon League, you can actually set up a competition, create QR codes, and then perhaps maybe have a sign-in or a tournament fee where players pay in and then they get the QR code to participate in the competition there in the local location. So it seems like it's going to be a really fun way to set up local contests, maybe earn some VGC points if you can't go to the big VGC contests that go on around the country. It looks like it's going to be really interesting and a great expansion to the game. Now, what's probably even more interesting is the introduction of hyper training. Now, from what I've seen, the description of this particular training mode, what you can do in this training mode is that once a Pokemon reaches level 100, you can actually adjust the Pokemon's individual values through the hyper training. This is something that's never been done before. Up to this point, individual values were very set. You could only adjust them by breeding, meaning you had to breed an entirely new Pokemon to adjust individual values. And legendaries, they had 3 perfect individual values in the 6th generation, but you still had to soft reset to get the right ones in combination with its nature. So being able to retrain IVs essentially at level 100 is going to make Pokemon training a lot easier. It's going to make requiring hatching a whole lot of eggs a lot less likely. And probably more interesting in my case is that it's going to make 6 IV Pokemon not as special. I have a 6 IV Charizard, a 6 IV Talonflame. They're not going to be too special once Generation 7 comes out. But I'm still happy for this. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's all the new information we have for Pokemon Sun and Moon this week. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As always, please subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, heroes, I'm Pogi Force, and you guys stay awesome. Take care.